share with you some tips and tricks I learned while making strawberry rhubarb pie. This year I picked up my strawberries from a local farmer through our co-op. Last time I tried to make a strawberry rhubarb pie, the rhubarb was too mature, so it turned out very tough and it never cooked down properly. So I was a little disappointed when I saw that the rhubarb was rather large again this year, so I just picked out the smallest stalks I could find and used those. I chopped my rhubarb into about a 1/4 inch, maybe a 1/2 inch chunks and tossed them in with my strawberries. The recipe that I used from sallysbakingaddiction.com called for 1/2 brown sugar and 1/2 white sugar, and also a tablespoon of orange juice for a unique flavor. I added tapioca flour to the mixture to thicken it up as it gets soupy, because the sugar does pull out the juices and sweetness from the strawberries and makes it a little bit soupy. She actually said to go ahead and pour that off before putting it in the pie pan, but my thought was that's where all the sweetness is at, so I don't want to throw that out. And also I had trouble with my rhubarb getting tough the previous time, and I thought that the liquid would help to soften the rhubarb as it baked. I decided to do a lattice crust on the top, and I don't like to weave my lattice crust. I like to just crisscross it. So you'll see here, I started in the middle. You can also start on the edge. You won't get as distinct of a square look like I did this time if you start from the edge. But I just take the longest pieces and drape them across each other in an X shape, as you see here. And this is what I end up with. And that is good enough for me. It has the cracks to let the bubbles out, you know, and I think it's pretty. So that is how I kind of cheat on my lattice crust. The recipe called for a whisked egg painted on top of the crust. This was totally worth it, and I highly recommend doing just that. Next, I sprinkled some sugar on top, and it was ready to go in the oven. I was worried about the top crust getting burnt while it was baking, but that did not happen. It did spill over a little bit in my oven, and I didn't get it finished until nearly 11 p.m. So I did have to wait overnight before I could taste it in the morning for breakfast. There's nothing quite like a beautiful strawberry rhubarb pie to meet you for breakfast in the morning. I took a few pictures real quick before we sliced into it, and it was just perfect. Not runny at all. The filling turned out perfectly. It set up nicely, and it was so delicious. For the full recipe, go ahead and hop on over to my blog, wifeinthecountry.com/blog, and I've got a link there for you to get the recipe.